Hi friends, how's it going? We're going to do a little talk about the power of positive language. So I'm going to tell you basically what I do sometimes. It's kind of like, basically, it's kind of like magic. Like I feel like it's you are using language and connecting it with images um, or like ideas and feelings. So you're connecting you know, thoughts in your head with feelings in a targeted fashion so that you can kind of change your own, influence yourself. So to change your mind, the way you think, because, we can affect each other, obviously, right? So you can do that with yourself as well through the words you use. So say how you can do that, like pretty simple thing. It's not, not crazy. Um, but how to do that, and then in general, how we use kind of language and like people, examples of how people, even in more casual everyday use, how you have positive use of language versus negative use, or like productive versus self-destructive. And then thirdly, how, uh, yeah, how, what was I going to say? How, this can be an example of this overarching kind of connection. Either you're going with life or you're going against it, more or less. So, hopping into it. This is one where basically it was went through some big long process of thinking about stuff, and then I wanted to remember it and to integrate it into me by repeating it to myself to have emotional changes in my psyche and to kind of set some neural grooves. When you think something, it's kind of like clearing a forest path as you go through. You keep walking it enough, it creates a path, an easy to rediscover path. Same thing with memory, so neural pathways, right? And so you can form these grooves in your mind by thinking certain things. Um, what's his name? Tony Robbins said he would just repeat to himself, "I am fucking unstoppable. I'm fucking unstoppable," over and over again for like years or something. And by the end, I believed it. So here we go. All right. What? Feel good. Why? To see clearly for God. How? Physical presence. Is that it? Wait. That's it. All right, here we go. What? Feel good. Why? To see clearly for God. No. What? Feel good. Why? To see clearly for God. How? Physical presence. What? Feel good. Why? To see clearly for God. How? Physical presence. Over and over again. And all right, I've had enough of this juicy angle. I have a fairly low table, but hey, or I can just sit like this. This works. Okay, so um, what? Like, what's the point? Physical presence. Get outside your head, be in the now, like Eckhart Tolle kind of thing. But or like every spiritual tradition through history. But basically, don't be thinking, just be in the moment. Or you could, like what the Wim Hof method can lead you to. You do this breathing, and then you're just in the moment. So, and why? To see clearly for God. By God, you could say universe if you want, or life, whatever, the big picture, we're these little humans, but thinking of this grand vision of like love or service or, you know, goodness. Do you believe in goodness, Well, that big goodness thing. So, um, so to see clearly for it. So physical presence, being in the now with whatever is happening and just experiencing it and not trying to run away from it or ignore it or change it or something. This clarifies your spiritual vision, like your mind, your way of seeing things. So you can see them with like, you know, it will clarify your thinking. So your thinking is more rational, but also just you're in the moment. You can see what's happening even without thoughts. And then and that is very useful for you make better choices, more harmonious for yourself, but also for your bigger self, which is your family, your country, your world. This is you. We're all branches on one big tree. So what? Physical presence. Uh, why? To see clearly for God. It's like this is your purpose here. And then you can enjoy yourself. You don't have this guilt of like, oh, what's life all about? It's like, well, no, you've got the service, and then in your free time, you can have fun. Um, and so yeah, and then how? Uh, wait, no, is that? Wait, am I messing up? One sec. Oh my God, totally messing up. What? Feel good, right? So it's keeping, right. So it's beginning from the simple end. It's been a while since I had this mantra or whatever, but like what? Feel good. Like it's so simple. Just feel good. Be here, and then so it's not overcomplicating it, right? It's just simple and like energy. Feel good. Don't, and if you can't do that, then don't move on yet. Or you could if, it might trigger some release and you can get back to feeling good. Maybe you could try it. Takes a few seconds. What? Feel good. Why? See clearly for God. How? Physical presence. Oh yeah, okay. Well, back to business. All right. What? Feel good. And then just stay there until you get it. And when you got that piece, then you've unlocked one door, then you can unlock the second door. But if you lose the first one, you stop feeling good, then energetically you haven't that you're no longer going to get to you're not going to get to the third door. You have to go through them together. They have to multiply. So what? Feel good. Why? To see clearly for God. So you have the good energy and then you're connecting it to like the universe. Like, this is it gives it a noble purpose. It gives you a reason to stay in that energy and to fight anything that tries to get you to be feeling bad. You know, later I'll mention, not too much later, um, the how I think negativity can be useful as well. But so, what? Feel good. Uh, why? See clearly for God. So feel good. That make me feel good sitting up straight. Um, what? Feel good. Why? To see clearly for God. Okay, I'm on board. Got it. How? Physical presence. And then you go, okay, and then you leave the thinking. Silence. So it's kind of like a little train of thought which will lead you into silence. And you can just keep rinsing and repeating. So that's it. Now enjoy. Now that's one example where you can do that over and over again, and it'll slowly change your energy, the vibration of your body, the emotions you're in, the thoughts you're thinking, the way you're seeing the world, the way you're acting, and then the feedback you're getting from the world. And so that's one thing. Another example would be like there's a while where I had these three things where I was like, oh, confidence, three things I wanted to work on and develop more. Confidence, clarity, calm. And they're a bit different, like calm and confidence, kind of similar, but calm's more just open. Yeah. Confidence is a bit more yang, more active, less passive. Confidence, you're taking life, for a ride. Come on, life, let's go for a walk. Um, and but then calm, like you're like, oh, okay, life, lead me down, lead me for a walk. Clarity, I guess, some sort of balance there, but also, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, like consciousness, knowing what's going on. So you could, and I might say to myself like, oh, confidence, 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 and the focus on one of them, or go between confidence, calm, and then bring in clarity every now and then. Or I might do all three of them, and you're kind of just touching that all. It's almost like adding herbs while you're cooking, like a bit more oregano. Oh, it's a bit strong. Now put a bit more basil, too basil, or a bit more oregano, or something else. You're mixing the flavors of your emotions and the thoughts they generate. Um, so yeah, doing that, and you could, while you're doing that, I guess there's a few things you could do. One, you can just say it and let the energy of the word come through you. There's connotations, the sound, the physical sound of it, the way your face feels when you do it. And I think, even if you're not thinking about it, if you go confidence, 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 it's doing something. It's making you more confident. It pushes you towards that association, I think. But then you could also be kind of doing it a bit more uh, detailed with a bit of like active thinking. So being like, okay, confidence, uh-huh, and then you kind of see in your mind or you think about like, what does that mean for me? What could it mean, And you can let it bring up associations and you hold them and you kind of pay attention to these extra ideas, not just the idea of confidence, but whatever else kind of images or words or whatever or feelings come up. And then you move on to the next, calm, you know, confident. And so that's those two basic ways to do it. So, and with that, you can kind of create your own spells. Someone people often make the pun or whatever, or the joke like it's like spelling, you know, uh, with words. You spell words. But yeah. So, and I mean, maybe magic is real. Like, you know, God knows what the Egyptians were up to. Um, but at a very, even if there is that other stuff, I have no idea actually. Um, Probably. Um, then this is like real. This, you can do this and it'll have a big impact. Um, what it has in my experience. And yeah, so then, and acting through total like physical, things we all mainstream physicists who would disagree with me maybe in like, oh, that's, why would you do that? That seems weird. They would agree in the mechanism I'm saying works, right? It's like a, not controversial, like, vibration and emotions and thoughts, etc. So then that's that for basically making your own spells or whatever, and you can do whatever you want, you know, tailor made for whatever you're working on. But then in general, so the language we use. So I think we often, but yeah, productive or counterproductive, like self-destructive language. So people being like, oh, oh, I can't remember, or oh, I always do that, or oh, I can't do that. Now that you might think you're only referring to this moment, but technically you could also use the same sentence to describe your life in general, right? And so there's a danger that you're casting a spell on yourself of like, oh, I can't speak this language, or I always forget names. And so maybe your body goes, oh, really? Oh, okay, okay. you know and I think probably it affects you. It's like, people saying like, oh, you know I'm going to spill this or whatever, or watch me spill this, and then they, oh, look, see, I did spill the coffee. Gosh, you know and it's like, well, how do you know that that wasn't, your annoyed expression like, I'm probably going to drop this. How do you know that that wasn't a contributing factor, and in my experience, yeah, you have to be totally on board and one with what you're doing to do it well. Like with music, if I'm like, oh, I hope my rhythm's good, I hope I don't make a rhythm mistake, guess what's going to happen, but if you're just in it, you just play the music, then it's perfect. So same thing. um Oops. What else? Yeah, so you can rephrase things. Sometimes you can't avoid saying these things negatively. And maybe you could say it if you had the right consciousness. You could say it and be aware, like, yeah, I'm not programming myself, maybe. But yeah. But instead of say, what I do instead of being like, oh, I can't remember, I go, oh, it'll come to me, you know, or uh, you might say, what's another thing? I can't do that. Or yeah, I haven't managed to do that so far, you know, because that doesn't apply to the future or the, life in general. Um, or yeah, so on and so forth. So then I think that kind of shows a basic thing of like, uh, well, apart from contributing to your own problems by focusing on negative things, there's this deeper issue of like, I think often we resist the moment, we resist life, and basically, like, we all do it, Um, what a Buddha is, or a Christ, or a sage, or an enlightened being, an awakened being, awakened consciousness, enlightenment, liberation, salvation, Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness. I think they would be the same. All the last ones. Um, these all refer to basically this state of mind where you're not resisting life at all. You stop doing it, and then like we are mentioning before, your clarity of mind, the way you see things is affected by your energy. And so if you have that, what, feel good, what, that kind of thing, maybe, yeah, you could, well, I'm sure there's many roads up the mountain, um, get to this point. But so they are still very functional people. There's not many people like this, and but there are actually, thankfully, I think a very large, growing number, still a minority on the planet, a small minority, I guess, but very powerful in their influence in causing this own group to grow and to just benefit the planet. There is a pretty hefty minority now, I think, who are waking up. They're not fully awake. I would put myself in there, like honestly, yeah, there's a shift going on. There's this higher state of consciousness which comes in. I'm like, oh, I see things. I understand. Like, cool. And it's not about me. I'm just like a branch on the tree. Whoa, this tree is beautiful. You know, I don't go like, oh my God, look at me, the mighty tree. No, I'm like, oh wow, what a cool tree. Okay, I want to be a good branch for the tree. Um, but on some level, we are the same thing. But yeah, so I think that group's growing. But like so, but none and I think we can all do this and we all should, whatever way you want to live your life, like you want to know what's real, I think, and you want peace and you want to be, just for selfish reasons, you want to be having the best life you can. And literally whatever path you want to take, being awake and actually knowing what's going on is the route to success. Ignorance is bliss is a big red herring. Like that's, false advertising. Um, so yeah, knowledge is bliss, or consciousness is bliss, literally. Um, so yes, okay. Um, so you can still be not resisting life and be very productive and functional. And so it's like basically, actually, you're more productive because you might think, well, if I didn't have negativity, I would let all these bad things happen. It's like, well, here's the healthy way to do it. I would say, you know, instead of being like, oh, something bad happened, oh, I'll get angry, I'll get annoyed, I'll get sad or whatever. You see, and like, yeah, or I'll criticize my kids so that they get this negative energy and they don't do it again. You know, it's like, you know, I'll put a lot of feeling into it, make it worse. Whereas I think it would be better if you just told them, like, hey, that was wrong, you shouldn't do it again. I love you, but don't do that again. you know, just like no emotion, no heavy emotion, but just logic. Just tell them, don't be afraid. Like, no, that it was kind of right. No, but no, that was wrong. Don't do it again. But hey, no worries, no bad vibes. I think that's much more uplifting because that negative energy will create more problems if you're encouraging the energy. That negative energy created the problem. In the absence of that energy, it would be easier to connect to pure consciousness, and then you make better decisions. But anyway, so the healthy way to do it, I think, is you, as they say, it's the serenity prayer, I think it's called. May I have the courage to control the things. No, may I have the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, what's within my power, okay, control it, and of course you'll try to control it in the way you think is best. Ultimately, ideally, you will start to realize, oh, what's best for me is what's good for me and for the rest of the tree, you know, of life. And so maybe you make mistakes, but that's your intention. You're coming from trying to help the tree rather than helping just the branch. Um, so, and you won't be perfect, but you'll get better through trial and error. You know, um, so, yeah, you control what you can control. Yeah, I think I can control this. All right, take control. Don't be shy. Go on. And then, oh, actually, this thing I think I can't control. This other thing. For example, anything in the present moment, it's already happened. Here it is. You can't control it. Um, you can't control the past. That's all finished. But basically, like, you can, the present moment, you could say, well, I mean, depends how you use the words, but like in a way you could say you can control it, like because it's you take actions and you can change. But just for simplicity, I would say, although that is in the now, you act. I would say it's like you accept the now. Yeah, it's inevitable. Here it is. It's already like this, and then that creates this energy and this openness from which action, empowered action can come. And you go, okay, what can I control? And basically the future, we could call it, label it the future for practical purposes to do this technique. So, okay, the past and present I can't change. It is as it is. Accept it. Okay, now I feel that, that's nice. More energy, more relaxation, more clarity. Okay, what do I want to do? Oh, well, here, I could make a sandwich. That would be good. All right, do it. The future is open to you. You can make that sandwich if you want. Um, but often what happens, I think, is we have, a low vibrational state, uh, um, and we lack energy and we lack clarity and stuff. And so when opportunities come along, things that actually are within our power, often we miss them because we have wasted all our energy trying to fight these impossible battles over what is inevitable and has already happened. And examples of that would be like, oh, I can't believe this. Be like complaining about things, being like, oh, this is an outrage. This is terrible. Oh, I can't believe they would do this. How do they do this to me? This is not fair. It's like, all right, well, some of that might be natural to pop up, but don't think that that's productive. Like, get over that ASAP. If you can do it immediately, if you can just skip that stage, probably for the best. If you can let go of the emotion, maybe you might need to let it flow to let it go. Um, but keep it very brief if you're doing that. Um, and yeah, so that is an example of resisting what is, or making trying to, yeah, I guess, or ruminating on the past, but also in the present, saying like, oh, trying to make someone love you, or trying to make someone see something your way, and be, no, no, I'm right. You need to agree with me. It's like you can communicate with them because that's within your power. The words you choose is within your power. Their reaction to your words is not within your power, but you're wasting all this psychic energy getting frustrated because you're like, how can I control that? It's like, you can't. What are you doing? you know? Um, so yeah, I would say that's that. And the wisdom thing. So, courage to control what you can, serenity to accept what you can't control. But then, the wisdom is the key because or you could call it consciousness, because it allows you to distinguish what's in my power and what's not. Should I even be, not what should I do? Should I do? Is there anything I should even be doing in this thing I'm focused on? Oh, it's not in my power. Okay, no, nothing. Oh, it is in my power, this thing. Okay, well, I could, okay, just be aware of it, kind of feel the situation out, think about it. Maybe words or action will arise, or maybe a few possible actions or words will pop up into your head, or even a few reactions, emotional reactions. You go, oh, there's this energy reacting, there's that energy too. Which one should I go with? The frustration or the peace? Which one? I'm confused. Um, yeah. So that's it. So I'd say, the way we talk to ourselves is kind of one example of this deeper thing of like, do you go with the flow with life so that you can have more personal power and success? Or do you, vaingloriously try to control things, even if you don't think you're trying to control it, through kind of complaining and uh, resisting things that are inevitable? Um, and having a grievance or resentment against life or people or just resistance. So the final piece here, the puzzle, I think, is that there is an exception where I kind of mentioned it before, where with things within your power, you have the right to try to control, and you should try to control them as best you can. Sometimes the correct control would be do nothing, but it should still be a decision. You should be trying to be controlling everything within your power. It's your kingdom, right? Um, uh, and other people can do that too, and that's good. And we just try to influence ourselves and others to be acting from awareness of the tree, and not just their own branch. And then whoever wins, I might disagree with you, and we're both trying to exert control over something. Uh, um, but because we're like, yeah, both. If I try, I could. It's possible I can control this outcome. So all right, yeah, I'm gonna try it. But we're both doing that. If we're both trying to serve the tree, then it doesn't really matter. Whoever's trying to serve, in general, I think what's good will usually win out. And that's the best we can do anyway, even if, so, uh, yeah. So, um, we yeah, the way we talk to ourselves. So yeah, going with the flow. All right. So um, yes, I think, for example, complaining. Um, there's a way to complain, which is or criticizing someone. You know, your child who's done something wrong, for example. Um, there's a way to do it where it's kind of like very practical, and you're saying, hey, don't do that, or hey, this wasn't right, or you know, whatever it is. You're communicating basically. You're sharing information, and that could be a part of controlling what's in your control. But then on the other hand, you could have the same thing, but add in a bunch of unnecessary, unhappy feelings, and often they would change the things you say. But even if you said really perfect, you know, things, and you communicated just as clearly as an enlightened being, but you just added these, negative emotions. Of course, that's been possible, but just for the sake of argument, let's say you just added them in. It would still be like wasting your resources a bit and lowering your vibrational state and uncomfortable and not doing anything useful. So, there's that internal resistance, internal complaining. That's what I'm talking about. And with all of these things, words are just signposts to the meaning. The meaning is in reality, the one reality, the world itself. Um, but just, so we have to kind of be a little bit flexible with words, I think. But so use whatever meaning kind of, and, conveys the idea for you using your internal dictionary of the meanings of words. But yeah, I think you could say internal complaining or resistance is pointless, but external, that can be, you could use that word to mean something very beneficial and noble, even, trying to exert a positive influence on the universe. And ultimately, it is the tree. The best influence comes when you let the tree kind of act through you as the branch, and it's an honor. It's an honor to be, helping the tree. So there you go. That could be a little thing you can say to yourself over and over again to bring this full circle. It's an honor to be serving the tree. It's an honor to be serving the tree. So you're walking and you don't just drop your ice cream because you trip and the ice cream falls out of your hand. But this pearly white vanilla ice cream slams straight down into the ground onto a pile of dog shit. Oh no, this is not what I wanted for my pearly white vanilla ice cream. And you can go, you can feel the beast of resistance rising up inside you, wanting to go, this is not right. And, but instead, you go, aha, it is an honor to serve the tree. All right, see you, everyone.